This is the only fat loss video that any woman over 30 could possibly need. I'm a professional nutritionist that's helped thousands of women melt their body fat without counting calories, and the systems I follow are so effective, I've been featured in multiple news publications, I've become a published author, but more importantly, I make it really freaking easy to lose weight. So if that is interesting to you, watch this video because I'm gonna teach you how you can do that too. First things first, you have to start with the right goal. The goal is not just to lose weight. The goal is to lose the body fat and keep it off the rest of your life, right? Because there's no point in losing the weight if you just gain it back. So the very first thing you should be doing is you need to stop counting calories. It is a complete waste of time. You have probably done 5 million diets in your life. You know what foods are packed with calories, and you know that when you eat food that looks the way it does in nature, those are nutrient dense. And not a single person on the planet has ever become obese because they ate too many natural foods the way they look in nature. Just think about the food you'd put inside of a stir fry that would make it really freaking delicious, like garlic, snap peas, carrots, onion, the typical like flavorings that you would have. Or if you really want to melt body fat, you'd have the most effective foods, which would be whole fruits like cucumbers, green beans, apples, pears, or peaches. That brings me to the next step, which is to test and see what works for you specifically. I have been coaching women for over a decade, and I have never seen two women with the exact same solution. The only way to guarantee that you find your solution is to make data-driven decisions. But don't look at what everyone else has done. You have to look at your data to know what works for you. So now that you have found some natural foods that you actually like eating, try to go nuts with just one of them and then see which one helps you lose the most weight. Let's use the peaches as an example because I just had a client that started swapping part of her meal for peaches and she's melting body fat and taking off inflammation like crazy because they have anti-obesity effects, they're anti-inflammatory, and they physically change your sugar cravings and help you melt visceral fat. The key is that you want to weigh yourself in the morning, before you eat, after you use the bathroom, wearing the same clothes or no clothes at all, every single day. Then what you're gonna do is you are gonna pick one of these foods. Let's say the peaches as an example. You're gonna replace part of every single meal with the peaches. Then after 4 days, see if your weight is trending downward. If you are trending downward, then peaches are the key. But it's not necessarily gonna say it's gonna be peaches for you. Like literally every single woman's different. Like I've had women that I've worked with that added celery to their diet and they would gain 2 pounds. The real solution is data-driven decisions. You need to test it. Those 2 steps will help you consistently lose weight, but if you wanna keep that weight off in the easiest way possible, you need to increase your insulin sensitivity. This is how much insulin you release when you eat, and insulin is your fat storage hormone. So you wanna keep that nice and low and regulated. It also will trigger how much hunger you have when you eat something. If you're a woman with insulin resistance, for instance, you can go all day without eating, but as soon as you start eating, you feel like you cannot stop because your blood sugar is going on this yo-yo because your body's releasing too much insulin. We wanna make sure that is nice and level, and the best way to do that is with activity immediately after your meals. In my absolute favorite activity for myself personally is something called golden hour walking. This is where you go for a walk. I like to do it with my wife and kids. An hour before sunset. The sun is just coming down, but you're still gonna get the vitamin D from the sun. That vitamin D is going to help you reduce inflammation naturally. It's also gonna help your circadian rhythm so you release more melatonin, which helps you get a higher quality sleep for better hormonal balance. You're gonna activate something called a muscle pump, which is going to help your body process any inflammation you have faster, AKA get rid of that big bloated belly. It's also going to aid in more regular bowel movements because doing it immediately after your meals is gonna gently pull that poop right out of you. And it doesn't have to be right after your walk, but it'll happen at least the next day because it'll help pull that through so you don't have that food ruining your sleep. And one of the coolest benefits that women get when they do this type of walking is they're gonna lower their cortisol naturally because it's actually going to metabolize those stress hormones while you're walking. If you can lower your cortisol, that is how you are gonna get smaller and stronger at the same time. That's why I freaking love it. And on top of all of those benefits, you are increasing your insulin sensitivity because it's actually gonna pull the sugar out of your muscle. That's called muscle glycogen, and it's gonna use it for energy. That way, you're gonna have less insulin released for fat storage, and instead, that sugar that you eat inside your meal is actually gonna be stored inside of your muscle. How cool is that? You follow those 3 steps, you should be melting body fat like crazy. If you would like a more in-depth explanation of how I help women balance their hormones naturally so they can melt their body fat 100% guaranteed, I actually do a live broadcast where I break down the exact system that has worked for thousands of women. It's a lot more in-depth than this. It's totally free, and if you're interested in joining my full program, I talk about that as well at the end of it. To see that, all you have to do is go to the link in the description or go to my profile and you will see the link there. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Love you all, and thanks for watching.